Hello everyone and welcome to The Chrissy B Show, which is the UK's only TV programme that's dedicated to your mental health and well-being. Today we are doing our bit to celebrate International Men's Day, which takes place every year on November 19th. I'll be joined by our resident business expert Jonathan Pfahl, who'll be telling us all about what it takes to be a successful man in business. And I'll be hearing why it's important for men to develop both at home and at work with our self-development coach Chris Browne. I will also be hearing about a project that's taken the world by storm, and it's called Intellimen. Then later on, I'll be speaking to Ankit Love on the show. He'll be telling us all about his very colourful background and how he went on to found the One Love Party and running for the Mayor of London. With its origins in the Caribbean, International Men's Day is now an internationally recognised event that invites every man, woman, girl and boy in the world to come together and celebrate men and boys in all their diversity. This year's very important theme is to stop male suicide. According to the Samaritans, the male suicide rate in the UK is 3.5 times that of women, with those at the greatest risk being between the ages of 40 and 44. Now, last week we did a show encouraging men to open up and talk about their feelings, as often repressing these emotions and trying to deal with them internally can prove fatal. And if you missed that episode, you can catch it over on our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. Other important key issues highlighted by International Men's Day include challenges faced by boys and men at all stages of education, including attainment, men's health, shorter life expectancy and workplace deaths, challenges faced by the most marginalised men and boys in society, male victims of violence including sexual violence, challenges faced by male parents, and the negative portrayal of men, boys and fathers. In addressing these issues, International Men's Day hopes to promote new role models, celebrate the contribution that men make, focus on men's health and well-being, highlight discrimination against men and the inequalities that men and boys face, improve gender relations and promote gender equality, and ultimately to create a safer world for everyone. So if you'd like to learn more about International Men's Day or would like to take part in any events, all the information is available on their website at ukmensday.org.uk. And don't worry ladies, it isn't all about the men. Earlier this year we celebrated International Women's Day, which takes place annually on March 8th. And you can also find that episode on our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. Now before we go to my guest today, let's hear what you guys have to say about International Men's Day. So here's a few tweets for you. Virag says, why is International Men's Day not celebrated on a major scale as the Women's Day? Well, I think that's hopefully going to be changing. Whilst Backbench Business reports that MP Philip Davies is now bidding for a debate on International Men's Day 2016. Deb says, celebrate International Men's Day to respect gender equality. But some don't agree, however. Jasmine says, isn't every day International Men's Day? So there's always one, isn't there? So now it's time to go to our newsreader, Pax Brown, who has the day's news.
Thank you, Chrissy. Lovely being here as always. Now, it was Ricky Gervais who reminded us last year on Women's Day, do not despair, meninists. International Men's Day is a thing, and it's celebrated on the 19th of November. Now, a somewhat controversial event, in fact, so controversial that last year the University of York decided to cancel International Men's Day event last minute. The campaigners actually believed that the university's reputation would have been tainted if they had associated themselves with such an event. They believe that raising awareness on women's issues can actually provoke more inequality than actually combating it. Cancelling the event at the University of York caused great outrage amongst the event supporters. In fact, they believe that by cancelling the event, they were undermining men's rights. However controversial this event may be, it's actually gained a lot of attention in the last few years, so much so that last year, Parliament actually debated International Men's Day for the first time. So why do we celebrate International Men's Day? Let's not forget that men face very different issues in life than women. And obviously, it's just a way to also promote good, positive male role models, which unfortunately is not so common these days. Thank you. Back to you, Chrissy.
Thanks very much to Pax, and we will be catching up with him a bit later on too, as he takes to the streets to get your opinions on International Men's Day. So now let's hear about a project that is taking the world by storm, and here's an interview with Bishop Renato Cardoso, founder of Intellimen.
Well, the Intellimen project is a very simple idea, really. It's to help men to become better through the use of their intelligence. The project came about through problems I had in my personal life and also with my son. I'm a father of a 23-year-old man already, can't say boy anymore. And we had lots of problems raising up Philip, and at one point in his teenage years, out of sheer frustration, I decided that I was going to help young men initially to cope with the problems of life. It's a fact that most men nowadays are very ill-equipped to deal with the various challenges that life throws at them. For example, women, sex, anger, money, and even their health. We know that 4 times more men than women commit suicide in the world. So that gives you an idea how much struggle men go through, and they just don't know how to deal with it. Men tend to bottle up their problems and then just implode or explode. So the project came about to try and give men the tools to deal with these various challenges that they have, that we all face in life. We have set up the project, structured the project in 53 challenges, which are meant to be taken up once a week, one challenge a week for 1 year. So that means for an entire year of a man's life, he will be focused on improving various areas of his life. So there are 53 challenges which cover about 20 different areas of a man's life, such as finances, relationships, their health, their mental health, physical health, fitness, how to deal with pornography, sex, and other areas as well. So you are challenged, the man is challenged to look at one part of his life and then take up that challenge to improve within 7 days, to do something to improve that area of his life within 7 days. And the project, the beauty of the project is that it's self-paced and you can do it anywhere in the world, because all you need to do is read up the challenge for that week and decide, okay, here's what I'm going to do about it. Well, the results, Chris, have been amazing, really, because the project started here in Brazil, and then it's started to take up around the world. Today we are in over 100 countries. We have thousands and thousands of men, hundreds of thousands of men doing these challenges in more than 100 countries in various languages. And the results that we hear, the feedback we get from these men are amazing, such as weight loss, even though the project doesn't teach dieting, but it gives you the secret of dieting, whatever diet you want to be on, and teaches you why dieting fails for most people as well. Weight loss, we have relationships changed, better husbands, men who were addicted to sex, to pornography, have been able to leave these addictions. We have men with anger problems who've overcome their anger problems, who lacked self-control, men who suffered abuse in their life, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, all kinds of problems that men usually deal with. We receive feedback as being tremendous results. Even men who have been able to go up in their career because they started to apply these principles that the project teaches, and they suddenly begin to see improvement in their place of work. They are relied upon more by their bosses with more responsibilities, and of course with that comes better salary and so on. So the results have been really, really amazing, beyond what I expected in the beginning. Any man can join the Intellimen project, and it's a free project. You don't have to pay anything to join. You just need to have an internet connection and visit this site here, my blog, renatocardozo.com/Intellimen. You go straight to a page where you have the 53 challenges. You need to read each one of them carefully and follow. The secret of the success of this project is you can't be lazy with yourself. You can't desire to have a pill and say, oh, I'm gonna take this pill and everything in my life's gonna change. That doesn't work. These get-rich-quick schemes, these promises that you get, these formulas that you see around in the internet that your life's gonna change in 7 days and things like that, that doesn't work. If you wanna change in your life, you have to be committed to change. And here's the thing, the 1 year is going to pass anyway. Think about it. You are at the doors of a new year now, 2017. You don't have to wait for January 1st. You can start right now. But hey, 2016 is almost over and you didn't see it. Where did it go? Time passes anyway. So why don't you make a good use of your time? The project takes sometimes less than 20 minutes a week for you to spend time on that particular task for the week. And you will see the changes that will really stick to your life and will make an impact, I guarantee you. Go up to the blog, renatocardozo.com/Intellimen.
So thank you very much there to Bishop Renato Cardozo. And we actually have a UK representative here that will tell us about the impact Intellimen has had on his life and also about the work of the project here in the UK. So I'm very happy to welcome Bruno Dantas to the show. Hello, Bruno.
Hi, hello, how are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
I'm fine, okay.
So you are the UK rep for Intellimen here.
Yes.
But first of all, tell us, obviously you must have gone through the challenges yourself first. What kind of impact did that have on your life?
Sure, I did all of them. You know, it's about 1 year of challenge, improving yourself. Well, changing yourself takes time.
Yes.
So a lot of things you find out you have to work on. If I speak on a personal basis, it has helped me a lot with family.
Okay.
A lot. Well, I dedicate a lot of time to my work, and I love what I do. I love work, but it can be very tiring at times. So when I get home, tired after a long working day, you know, all you want to do is take off the shoes, lay back and stay lazy on the couch, you know. But then I have my wife, I have my son, who need attention, who need time, who need, not only when I get home, but also they need that I make time for them. And the project of Intellimen has helped me to see that. I was neglecting that part.
Okay.
That you know, the same dedication that I apply to my work, I was not applying that much at home.
Do you think men do that generally because they get so wrapped up in work? Because it's like a really important thing for them, isn't it?
With the men I have spoken to in the project, yes, I can see. I cannot speak for all the men in the whole wide world, but I would say in general. So if we take the men I know in the project and I meet in the project as a sample, I would say yes. Most men that I met and talked with, mostly they do that. Well, it's the feeling we get that my job is done, my part is done. So I'm home now. I want to rest, leave him alone, you know, and not help with anything at home as well. So most men think that well, house chores is for the wife is a lady thing. When you can help with little things like just taking the rubbish out, and will make a great impact, a great difference.
So you've definitely become a better husband and a better father.
I still am in the process of becoming, yes. But my wife she's glad with the project.
Happy.
She's happy. She was just talking in the car and she's saying, "Wow, I see changes in you." So,
what's that like hearing that from your wife, though?
It just gives us a push to go ahead and keep on doing it. Recently, I was talking to someone who also had his marriage saved.
Really?
And if it wasn't for the project and improving himself as a better man, a better husband, you know, the marriage would have failed. And thanks to the project and his effort he put in it, and applying the lessons of the Intellimen in his life, he could save his marriage.
Well, I'm just amazed at the impact that it's had so far, because it's not a project that's been going for very long, or for years and years. It's quite a recent project, isn't it?
Yes.
And in the UK, there are monthly meetings.
Well, we have monthly meetings. We have, if I'm not wrong, something more than 400 members. Active members, and we have monthly meetings, so once a month we come together, and so we can get on with the challenges of being a better man.
Okay, and what advice would you give maybe to the men watching today that are thinking, well, I don't really think I can change that much, or I don't feel very good about myself? What would you advise them?
Well, I would say don't knock it till try it. You have to try. You have to really look for ways to improve yourself. You know, it's okay. One of the misconceptions men have is that is a weakness to admit your errors, to admit you're wrong. You know, but I see it as a strength. Before I used to see it as a weakness. You know, and we want to hide our mistakes, but we have to confront them. That's the only way of becoming a better self, a better person. You know, that holds true for women as well, but we're talking about the men. So, and I believe women do better at that than men. They're better at that than men, than admitting their errors, confronting and being better. And that's one of the reasons that sparked the start of this project. Because we cannot be lagging behind. Men need to improve. Yeah,
men need to. And you know, it's also something, as Renato was saying earlier, that a lot of men internalize problems, and that's why, you know, there's a lot of mental health issues and stuff like that. So it even encourages men to open up in general, I suppose, instead of keeping everything in.
Yes, but, you know, that's what society expects from men, to be strong, to be always right, to know, but not all the times that's true. There are times that we don't know what to do, and we have to ask for help. You know,
definitely.
And the Intellimen is there for that.
Brilliant. Bruno, thank you so much. It's been lovely speaking to you, and all the best with the project.
Thanks for receiving me.
Thank you. All right, guys, so don't go away, because after the break, I'll be hearing from our resident business and self-development experts, Jonathan Pfahl and Chris Browne, about why it's so important for men to develop in business and in the workplace. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, your place for mental health and well-being topics. As you know, today's topic is International Men's Day. And to get a bit more of a feel for what you out there think about the day, we sent out Pax Brown onto the streets of London to get your opinions.
It's International Men's Day, and we're doing street chats. Have you ever heard about International Women's Day?
Yes, I have.
Yes. Doesn't ring a bell, but actually, of course I have heard of it, but yeah.
Oh yeah?
Of course. I have, yes.
And have you ever heard about International Men's Day?
No, I haven't.
No, I can't say I have. No.
Oh no, actually.
No. No, I have not.
Do you have any idea of, or guess what International Men's Day is about?
Maybe, I don't know, combating some of the men's issues like depression, prostate cancer, stuff like that.
Or silly men doing silly things.
I don't have a clue.
I can only base it off my own experience, I guess. But yeah, like I would assume that a lot of men at the moment find it quite difficult dealing with their own idea of masculinity and what that means today. And although I think women have a lot harder time in general in being judged on appearances or less by what they say, I think men are starting to feel that kind of worries as well, same kind of worries.
They have the same issues as women, so I just don't think it's highlighted as much as women.
I don't know. I want to know more about it.
Could we ask you who your favorite man in your life is?
My husband. 40 years in 2 months.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Jimi Hendrix. I mean, he's a great male.
My dad.
I don't have any. I don't have any favourites. I'm very equivalent. But I do support my young nephew. He had psychosis, and on the theme of mental health care, seems to me often men are reluctant to seek help, really. So I think if I had a magic wand, I think I might make men talking about our mental health a bit more acceptable, really.
Oh, it's going to be a tough one between my dad and my boyfriend. Like, whoever's watching, it's you.
This guy.
Me, of course. Yeah.
Who's your favorite man?
She is. Oh, man? No. No man. Just my dad. Yeah, my dad, yeah.
So thank you very much to Pax Browne there. So now I'm joined by some familiar faces on our programme. We have our resident business expert, Jonathan Pfahl, and also our coach, Coach Chris Browne. Hello, gentlemen.
Hi.
How are you?
Very good, thanks.
Nice to have you both back on the show. It's been a while.
Good to be here. Good to be back. Has been a while, yes, but always a pleasure. Good to be back.
Lovely. Okay, so we're going to talk about success, because what I'd like to concentrate on this programme is about how men can, even though maybe they're going through a hard time, they can turn things around and they can do really well in life. So let's start off with the business side of things. What makes a successful man in business, Jonathan?
A good woman.
Okay, true, very true. Yeah.
What creates success of a man is usually the absolute wonderful woman behind him, in my opinion, honestly. But no, of course. We're here to talk about International Men's Day, so we can focus on men. But what I'm going to say, is for both men and women.
Okay.
Number one is the absolute desire and belief in everything that you're doing. If you're building up in business, whether it's your own company or something, or a business that you work for, that absolute sheer determination and belief to keep going. When things are tough, which they always inevitably are, success comes through hard work. It comes through continuing to be persistent, and you achieve success faster if you know that you're building something that you've proven to yourself first that people want.
Yeah.
And that's really, really crucial.
What would you say your biggest success is then?
I think in business-wise, at the moment, because of course we're growing and things are doing very, very well, but the performance of our hedge fund at the moment is absolutely incredible. We're the number one performing fund on Bloomberg right now, across all of Europe and the US. Since January this year, 2016, we've netted 36% return on investment for our investors, which is brilliant. We've got just over 10 million under management now, and that's growing very, very well. So in terms of recent times, that I think business-wise, because we're talking business, as I'm focusing on business, because personal, I think success is, in so many different ways, shapes, or forms. But at this point in time, our biggest success to date this year has been the performance of our hedge fund.
That's amazing. Now, Jonathan, I know things weren't always so great for you, were they? Because there was a time when it was a bit rocky for you in business as well. Can you tell us briefly about that?
Of course. So, when Rockstar started, it was 2007, just before the recession. And really, Lehman Brothers didn't come until September 2008. So whilst I launched in 2007 in September, we started off very, very well. But when, of course, we saw the financial collapse happening in mid to late 2008, we lost a lot of customers. Affordability became an issue, and I made a lot of mistakes during that time, and they cost us even more time and more money.
Yeah.
And it really got to a situation after I was selling some of my investment properties to keep the business going that I did really question, does this business have a future? Does it have a future? And it wasn't just for a few months, it was a good 2 years that things were very, very tough. Costs were higher than what income was coming in. And I remember a very, very famous Winston Churchill saying that he said during World War II, which I still use today whenever I'm having difficult times, but was using a lot when I was there, which is, when you're going through hell, keep going. Why stop? It's not gonna fix things by stopping in the fiery underground of hell, which is what I was going through. So it's just that absolute, what I said before, that persistence, that absolute belief in oneself, and when things are tough, the worst thing you could ever do is stop. You've just got to keep going.
Keep going, and so glad you did, because you're doing so very well today.
We're rocking. We're rocking. We turn 10 years old next September,
Yay,
so that'll be a party.
Brilliant. And how about you, Chris? What's maybe been your biggest biggest success?
Biggest success. You know, it's really funny because I was talking to somebody about this today. We were talking about coaching, he does coaching as well.
Yeah.
And we was trying to define what is success really. And when we worked out, we was breaking it down, he said to me the same question. And I was thinking about the amount of individuals that I've come across within my work that's actually come back now and their life has changed.
Yeah.
You know, there are many other areas of success. You can actually say, oh, it's this, it's that, it's that. But to actually, let's say, we come into this life, we're going to leave, right? Make sure that you've contributed something to somebody's life. That is a success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now tell us a bit more about success in the workplace as well, because obviously, you know, people do go through quite a lot at work, and there are many people that have mental health issues at work and feeling quite low and everything. So what can be done in the workplace, do you think, to make it a better environment for people like that?
Do you know, as an employer, you really have to think about your environment. You know, if you've got a space where people can actually communicate with each other, if you set an atmosphere where there are teams and people can actually just talk, they can express little things. But there's the other side as well. Sometimes you might put somebody under undue pressure that it might not need, certain deadlines that it might not need, and they might not be able to speak up and say, this is what I'm going through, that's going on. And people go away by themselves and they start, you know, getting stressed out and start to crumble at the end of the day. So set the right atmosphere, teamwork, work together. Okay. Express, basically.
Brilliant. So I know it's been a quick one today, gentlemen, but thank you so much for your contribution to today's show, and happy International Men's Day.
Oh, and thank you. To you, to me, to you, to everyone.
And all the men in the world.
To all the men in the world. Happy International Men's Day.
Thank you very much. Guys, after the break, I'll be hearing from our real life story guest, Ankit Love, and he has quite a story, so make sure you stay tuned. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show, and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, where I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Ankit Love. Hello, Ankit.
Hi, Chrissy. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Lovely to have you on. I know you have such a story, and I don't know how much we're going to be able to get through, guys. I've got it all here. But first of all, tell us about your background, so to give the viewers an idea of what kind of background you're coming from.
Well, I moved to the UK from Kashmir, from a very specific part of Kashmir called Jammu, and even more specifically, Udhampur, where my family has done politics and been in governance and ruled royally for generations and generations. And unfortunately, it's a war-torn nation. It's where the Hindu world meets the Muslim world. It's where we have the Mecca of Hinduism. It's called Vishnu Devi. It's a shrine which 10 million people visit. And it's basically in the mountains, so all the different beliefs came together. But when we flash forward to the 21st century and the 20th century before that, well, people didn't seem to get along because they didn't agree with each other on their beliefs. Monotheism, polytheism, all coming together in these mountains, and it made the most colossal contemporary conflict, which has been going on for 70 years, since October 1947. So
how does this actually all affect your family and yourself?
Well, my family were both part of the ruling family at the time in 1947 when we had the last royal rule of Jammu and Kashmir under Great Britain. And my granduncle, he served with Churchill in the war cabinet here in 10 Downing Street during World War II, etc. But then very contemporary, my family, my cousins are the elected members from Udhampur, this kind of duchy. So my grandfather was a duke there, he was a Thakur. So this kind of duchy, still today, they stayed elected. They don't win in the entire state because the state's majority Muslim, but that's the kind of Hindu stronghold. And so they kind of still stayed there in power and stuff like that, but they're not, they're trying to promote secularism and peace and unity amongst people, but it's become very difficult. It's a day-to-day thing. So when I grew up with 22 armed guards there, you know. I was playing with bullets and AK-47s and
not your normal childhood then.
It's like a normal childhood, you know. So it was normal for me because I knew no different.
Yeah.
But my mother, she was very worried when she saw this, you know, and she said, I can't, that it's just too much for a kid. And my father was always in the press and the media, you know, like he was put in jail 50 times or something, and they tried to poison him in jail. One time he was an elected member of the Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, and they arrested him, the police, without any court order and detained him because they didn't want him to go and debate in Parliament. It was a place like this. So when I was born, I was the largest target. At this time, in 1983, when I was born, we were in the middle of something called Operation Cyclone as well. Like, not to get too complicated, but it was the biggest movement of extremism and radicalization in the area. And because my family were fighting against the radicals and trying to promote secularism and liberty, I became such a target as well as a kid. So for no choice of my own, you know.
See, there you go. You have some people worrying about what they're going to have for dinner, and you've got all this going on the other side of the world. My goodness, Ankit, that's even so mind-boggling. Yeah. So then you came to the UK. What were some of the difficulties that you went through when you actually got here? Because it wasn't all plain sailing once you got to the UK.
No, it was really difficult actually, because I came here when I was 6 years old. So like I've always been kind of like moved away and been an outsider. And I went to an American school, and you know, I was kind of one of the only kids. It was American school in the UK, international school too, which was kind of a blessing in disguise much later, because I got to see different countries and people from different cultures and realized that, you know, we're all one at the end of the day, because I didn't see that growing up. But initially it was a struggle too, because my father was very angry at my mother because it made him look weak politically, so he didn't support her. So my mom was actually a single mom, even though she's so powerful there. But here we were nobody, you know.
Shock.
It was like starting from scratch. So we're just struggling to survive here as well. But somehow she managed to just put me through the best schools, all on her own as well. So it was like being brought up by a single mother with all this background going on with the political.
She sounds like an amazing woman.
Oh yeah. No, she made me out of nothing, you know, and she gave me the best education. And at first it was very tough for me in high school because I was really an outsider. I couldn't speak English as well as the other kids. You know, like the curriculum was so different, and I was a different color as well because everybody else, they kind of like picked on me in the beginning. But hey, at the end, school ended up quite well for me because I ended up becoming the president of the high school through all of that. Because I mean, I also had a lot of political background that I was kind of schooled in, so nobody could compete. But after that, things went really bad because what happened in 2002 was in Jammu and Kashmir, we had a 1 million man standoff between India and Pakistan, 1 million troops looking at each other. And my family, they were in the government at the time, you know, and so like basically when you're in this kind of political situation, when your cousins are doing politics here and your dad is doing it, your grandfather was a duke, you know, and my great-great-grandfather was a royal prime minister and general who conquered Ladakh. He conquered half of Tibet. He died in Tibet, you know, trying to fight it. So this stuff really affects you psychologically when there's an ongoing war. So there I was in 2002, just out of high school, you know, and then all of this stuff came back to me because that kind of kept me sheltered from not knowing like what my responsibility was regarding that place. And then, you know, my dad's like, you know, come back, and I'm just 18, you know. And then I start thinking, oh my God, I'm a prince from this stuff. And I had this Sikh bodyguard all my life here, and he was looking after me. But I think I broke under the psychological pressure of all of this. I didn't sleep for days. I didn't know what to do. And I tried to apply for places like Oxford and Harvard. They all rejected me initially, so I was also broken from that emotionally.
Had you spoken to anyone about what you were going through, what you were thinking, or
no,
kept it all in?
I had nobody to speak to about these topics because it was kind of a taboo, you know. Like my uncle who was there at the time, there was so much pressure on all of us. He hung himself, you know. So it's because you have a responsibility to end an impossible war, you know, and this passes on to you as a kid. And I had no one to speak to about it. I mean, it's so hard to relate for anybody, and it ended up with a punch up with my Sikh bodyguard. He was so noble. He was actually in maximum security prison before in Kashmir. My mom got him out. So
really,
yeah. So like because like there was a whole conflict between the Sikhs and the Indian government, and so she was a Supreme Court advocate, and she got him out of prison. And you
ended up fighting him?
Yeah, because he always looked after me. Because at the time I was so confused. Because I was just out of high school, I didn't know who I was, and I didn't want to necessarily go back to that world because I'd grown up now here all my life, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that that's what I wanted to do, you know. I was like, no.
So you're trying to separate yourself from that. Like,
I wanted to. When I was 18, like, cause I'm 18, you know.
Yeah.
And this is your responsibility. Come back, lead a aggressive war zone in politics and manage it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a prince from a war zone. I started, you know, I got angry, I got aggressive, I didn't sleep, and I started hallucinating stuff because I didn't sleep. And at one point, he took me, my bodyguard, to the psychiatric doctor to see them. And I'm waiting in the psychiatric clinic, and this was one of the defining moments of my life. And there's this other guy there, and I haven't slept for 4 or 5 days. I'm going through this war that's starting in Kashmir, can potentially go nuclear at the time, you know. This is right after 9/11 as well. And this is where the British SAS and Delta Force had been sent to Kashmir to look for bin Laden. He was later captured 8 miles from the border. So this is to tell you where
I told you guys this was quite a story, didn't I?
Yeah, where things go down. And so like, there I am, and I can't handle it. I'm sitting in a psychiatric ward. I haven't slept for 4 days. There's a war about to break that I need to actually go back and maybe speak and lead or do something about, you know. And and what happened was, like, there was this assistant to the doctor before she came, and I was like, I'm leaving, and he didn't let me leave. So I started to punch it with him. Next thing I know, I'm dragged in and I'm sectioned in this psychiatric clinic, you know. It was unbelievable. They dragged me through, this is at the Patterson Center in Paddington. And I remember being dragged up the stairs, and I'm like kicking and screaming. And I mean, you know, now I look back and laugh.
Now I was laughing at the time, obviously.
But this was like incredible. It was terrifying. And then, like, before I know it, I'm in a 24-hour observation because, you know, like, I'm talking about being aggressive, killing myself, killing people, because that's what's going on. There's a war going on. And at the moment, they cannot relate to it. I'm saying I'm this royal prince, and they're like, what the what's going on? So they put me on olanzapine, like this really strong antipsychotic drug, and I'm in a 24-hour observation, you know. And then, like, I remember being in the psychiatric ward, like, next to me was one guy who thought he was Seraphim, and like you know, like it was making like these noises at night. And I remember being in this ward, and I've never been in this situation either. So it kind of perpetuated things to be even worse because I was reflecting that, wow, maybe I am nuts. But at the end, like, I was released, and they couldn't diagnose me with anything because what was happening behind me was very hard to judge me to the reaction. What's the normal reaction to the situation for an 18-year-old, you know?
Wow.
So yeah.
How did you actually move on from that situation, or that happened?
Well, what happened that was really fortunate at the time was I was able to leave everything behind for a bit in the UK, and I moved to California. So I got into art school. So at the same timing, I'd applied for this place called the California Institute of the Arts. It's an experimental art school. And so going there and just making another fresh start, which is literally the other side of the world from Kashmir, made me not think about it. And the war dissipated. So both the armies also withdrew, and so like it was not it was not so engaged, you know. And so like I was able to then just kind of forget it and just focus on what I wanted to do, which was to be an artist and to be a performer, to be a singer, you know.
Just a normal life.
A normal life, right?
Normal, yeah.
yeah, as well, right? As well. So, but actually that helped me really find like some kind of stability, ironically, relative to how like psychologically unstable everything was for me, because then it was, and nobody knew who I was there at all in California. I hadn't a clue what kind of school I came from, because and so like I was just being one of the kids. Because I went to American school, so I ended up with this American accent. I could have been like somebody from there, so that really helped dissipate the situation. Just getting away sometimes.
Were you happy then?
I was very happy in California for that time, because I'd gone through something so traumatic, and I didn't know what to judge to myself. I'm like, was I crazy? Like, how'd you recover from that? I'm on these strong antipsychotics like olanzapine, risperidone, and these drugs, like, they make you feel so like, you know, like bad. So I just quit them as well at the time, and I was able to do that because the environment changed, and I was not reflecting on so much, and I didn't talk to my dad for a very, very long time, because every conversation with him brings me back into a conflict, because it's not a normal childhood. Because I was born on the 7th of August, which is between the two nuclear strikes on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So get this here, for my birthday, my father would be giving a lecture there, because this war can go nuclear, because both India and Pakistan are nuclear armed nations, right? And so my dad's like on the 7th of August in like Hiroshima or Nagasaki giving a lecture at the university, and I'm invited. It's my birthday on the 7th of August. So like, that's the stuff I just think about when I'm growing up. And I thought that was really uncool. It's a summer holiday, so I'm not at school either, you know?
Wow, okay. So Ankit, how did you end up back in the UK then?
Well, I was there in LA, and I was doing okay. I was studying performance and acting, and I was offered actually a representation by this by Jack Black's first agent. But I was like, at the time, he said, if you want to work here, because I wasn't an American citizen, even though I'd gone through an American system, that I had to get American citizenship before submitting any auditions or castings, because they wouldn't cast me. And the real option was getting married to somebody to get a US, and I was like, I'm not doing that, no, you know. So I came back because I am British, so I'm a British citizen. So I came back here to just start my life here and work here, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a quick break, Ankit, because
Sure.
I have to take you into the next part of the show, because you are also going to be telling us a bit more about your story. Obviously, we haven't got time to cover everything, but also about the One Love party.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
So
my
do
pleasure.
join us after this. Make sure you don't go away. Welcome back to today's story, everyone. So before the break, we heard some of Ankit's story. Really, actually, I'm quite speechless about the things that he's been through and had to deal with at such a young age. And we're going to continue now, because you're going to tell us about coming back to the UK and starting the One Love party. How did that come about?
Well, the One Love party started from a relative, I don't know, tragic situation, as everything in my life good seems to come out of somehow.
Yeah.
So my life was good for a while. I was living in South Kensington here in London. I had like a great lifestyle. My mom, she did so well. She was like a multimillionaire before the market crash. But things started whittling down, and you know, I was able to take the opportunity to make music. I had music video hits on MTV in the USA from London, because I just sent the videos there, on radio there as well. But then after the market crash, it just seemed like, you know, like life got harder and harder. And what happened was, one night I was researching more about my family history, because it's something, you know, the history is my family story. Okay. And I had because I'd become a British citizen, I stopped being an Indian citizen. That's the law there, right? And I wanted to stay that, because I don't know, some like old patriotism. I was born there, whatever. I wanted dual citizenship. I started reaching a loophole. But what happened was, I found out, instead of finding a loophole to keep my Indian citizenship, which I couldn't, I found that because the state was so unstable, as being the last royal family member who was no longer Indian, I had inherited the titles on paper and legally of the actual kingdom of Kashmir, which kind of hit me, because no one had won the war, and I was like, oh my God, and I couldn't take it for a while. Yeah. Because I said no to my father to take on this political party. You know, I'd always try to run away from it, and I was like, oh my God, technically I'm a sovereign head of state. I mean, it means nothing. I haven't got any army here or anything, but legally, whoa. So I was like, wait a minute, this is a really important legal finding, because both my parents are Supreme Court. I'm going to put this on my Facebook, talk to people, big mistake. Because obviously people hate the idea who are from India that it should be an independent country, even though legally it is, you know? It's like when a country's occupied like France by Germany, you tell the Germans it's not. They're not going to be happy back in World War II, right? So like, I got so much hate from my family, from everybody. You can't say this, you can't do that. And what happened was, in the grand cycle of things with our depleting wealth from the market crash, I ended up losing my home, and the madness that came from that, from the fact that, oh my God, I'm actually a head of state in an ongoing war zone. I can never get away from this, you know? Yeah. And then like I had another breakdown. I was looking at this beautiful Armani model. She couldn't take it because I was shaking and sweating in my sleep. And
I was going to ask about your relationships, because that must have really...
Oh, she was like, what the heck? Because I was, you know, like a cool music guy, and all of a sudden, because I didn't tell her any of this backstory, and then all
she didn't know anything about your past?
No, I mean, I didn't really speak much about it. I mean, it's you know, it's like wars and people, you know, like my cousin has his leg blown off in a landmine. He was a major in the army. My uncle got shot. He's a colonel. So it's like a lot of blood, people killing themselves, hanging themselves, like, whoa, and you're responsible for somehow, you know. When I went back to, like, last time I went there was 2010, and like one of the main ministers called my mom, oh, don't bring your son here because I have the prime minister visiting and I can't give him security at the same time. I'm like, why do I need security to go back to my own place? And you go back, and you know, people come with drums. It's like weird. And I grew up in a different psychology. So, but then I couldn't get away from it, because technically I was the head of the country somehow, in a bizarre twist of fate of laws that were not made appropriately, because a lot of jealous laws that are not made on actual reason. And it ended up, cut a long story short, I ended up losing my home in Kensington. I couldn't pay my rent. My landlord, who was a army captain from Northern Ireland, couldn't understand. Ironic, my landlord was an army captain from Northern Ireland, I know. And so I, of all places, I know, funny story. And I ended up one day putting all my stuff on the street, having to leave. And I remember when the council guys coming, you can't leave your stuff on the street, you're gonna get fined. I was like, okay, sure, come find me. I haven't got a home, you know? So, and I ended up in this hostel in Hackney and Shoreditch. At first I was so
That's quite a
it was a change.
Jump, right?
16 people living in the same room, you know, like from living like a prince to like then, and I had no family here, nobody, you know, like it's just
How did you deal with that?
It was very difficult. There were times when I woke up in the hospital, I should just hang myself, you know? I really thought I should just hang myself because I'm like, what have I got to live for? Like I got no life. Like I lost everything, lost my family, my girlfriend, my dad hates me, my cousins hate me, you know, my mom, like she loves me a lot, but she's also grew up with Indian nationalism. Like nationalism is a dangerous thing, I think now, you know? So she can also understand the beginning, this doesn't make any sense, but she's a lawyer, but it does kind of make legal sense, this is weird. So everybody's being challenged here. And so what happened was to me, and a lot of my friends on Facebook, they didn't want to know me because now I was poor as well. Back then, that was a different, you know, thing. So it was also that shift as well. So like so many things at the same time. And so to survive, I actually ended up applying to go to university here to get a student loan for a little bit because I did. It's the only way I could figure out, you know, like what do I do? What do I do with myself? How do I live? Because I don't have any more money left as well. I'm completely broke, and I didn't want to go and get like the what you call it, the regular kind of thing. So I said I'm going to get a student loan to re-educate myself. So I did it for a bit, but before I actually left to get a student loan, I was in the hostel, and it ended up being the most inspiring thing, ironically, because I met all these young people who were so inspired by my understanding of law, of politics, of, you know, of a future vision, of like uniting humanity for trying to utilize space resources, mining asteroids. It sounds crazy, but we have the technology to actually aim for this stuff now. You know, there's a lot of private sector growth in space with companies like SpaceX owned by Elon Musk, and even Richard Branson's doing his space tourism thing. So it's really evolving fast. It's like, well, why can't we unify everybody on this kind of technological standpoint? And so one of the guys from Cambridge who also happened to go through a rough period, you need two people to make a political party. He signed up as my additional officer, and I became a leader of a political party in the UK from a homeless hostel, you know?
That's so amazing.
just on talk there, yeah. And I paid the £150 registration fee from the student loan I got.
Wow, that's just amazing.
Yeah, and well, one thing led to another.
It's a good thing you didn't hang yourself then, right? Because I mean, it just goes to show that how you can be in such a dark and horrible place that you're thinking of ending it all because everything seems to have just crumbled around, just come crashing down. But then at the same time, there was a tiny light at the end of the tunnel, but you made it happen.
And there's the good people around me.
Yeah.
I think the secret is surrounded with good people. And then I met Pax, you know, and he gave me another shove. And before you know it, I became the youngest candidate for mayor of London in the history of this country. And I got 33,861 first and second choice votes total. There are people sitting in parliament with just 9,000 votes in big parties. We made that by ourselves.
That's quite an achievement, isn't it?
Yeah, so in a way, even though I wasn't in parliament, I have no political office, culturally, in a democracy, I have a lot of influence with this really special minority.
So just before you go, Ankit, I know there's so much to talk about, but obviously we're running out of time, but what are your future plans now? Well,
our future plan is just to, you know, promote the idea of peace and love and to unite the world, and we have one cause. And this whole process, what I landed up on was the cause to obviously unify the world, but I was doing a lot of research, and I found these articles about air pollution, which is not the same as climate change. Climate change is different. Air pollution is an ongoing pandemic, it turns out from my research. 50,000 people die each year in this country from air pollution. In the world, 5.5 million people die from air pollution each year. That's more people dead than malaria and HIV combined, and it costs the world economy $5 trillion a year. So my dream is to make the whole world clean energy efficient, not for climate change, but so people can breathe clean, fresh air, and kids don't get mental illnesses, which they can from air pollution, as the studies indicate, and people don't die from it.
Brilliant. Ankit, it's been amazing speaking to you. Thank you so much for coming on.
It's a pleasure.
And I think we just need a whole show just for Ankit one day. But please keep us updated on everything you're doing and about your progress. And it'll be lovely to have you back on again to let us know what's been happening.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Chrissy.
Thank you. All right, guys, so let's go to the next part of the show. Well, that was quite a story from Ankit Love there. And guys, if you've just tuned in, I do recommend that you do head over to our YouTube channel in a few days' time and catch the parts that you missed, because it was really, really interesting. So as this show is in aid of International Men's Day, let's go through some qualities that women appreciate in a man. And this research was actually reported in Men's Health magazine. So the first thing that women said was faithfulness. So apparently more than 8 out of 10 women rated faithful to me in the top 10 attributes they find sexy in a man. So sometimes we might think it's, you know, to do with what they have and you know, the muscles and all of that stuff. Well, actually, this is one of the top ones. And because obviously it makes a woman feel secure, and to know that you're not going anywhere is really reassuring. So that was one of the top ones. The second one is dependability. So 3 out of 4 women say they look for a man who makes commitments and follows through. So being responsible, even if apparently it's just remembering to pick up a salad dressing on your way home, it actually does send out some kind of positive signal that you might be able to be someone that she can actually commit to later on. The third attribute they talked about was kindness. So there are obviously maybe a lot of the younger women that still fall for the bad boy type, but actually more mature women like a guy that is kind, because that inspires confidence again. So, you know, that could go, obviously, how can women tell this? It depends how you treat people around you. So maybe if you're in a restaurant and you're treating the waitresses, the waiters really well, that's a signal to her that you will also treat her well. And also if you treat your mum, your parents, your family well as well. Let's go to the fourth point, which is moral integrity. So this one was reported that having the guts to tell the truth means to a woman that you have the guts to be a good, caring, decent partner over the long haul. And then finally, the last thing that they spoke about was fatherliness. So apparently being a good dad, or having the potential to become a good dad, is about being a good role model and about being patient and caring. And all these qualities women really love in a partner. So obviously maybe you're not a father yet, but even the way you treat maybe your nephews and nieces can tell a lot about you. All right, guys, so those are the 5 qualities that women love in men according to Men's Health magazine. So as I said earlier, it's not all about muscles and money and all that stuff, which is what a lot of men think about. If you have these qualities, you will definitely get a partner, and that will stick with you for life if you wanted to. All right, guys, so we have reached the end of today's program. I do hope you have enjoyed the show today. And if you have a story that you would like to share on the show, please do get in touch with us. You can email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show, or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And don't forget, if you want more information about this program, you can head over to our website, which is chrissybshow.tv. Until next time, bye-bye for now.
Being on the Chrissy B Show felt really good, because I could talk about a lot of issues that really, you know, like, who can I talk to this about? It's so heavy, but I guess in like a forum like this, you know, you can just release yourself, how heavy it is, and I feel lighter, man. I feel good. I think I'm gonna walk out of the studio today feeling like, well, what I'm supposed to do, change the world and bring peace a bit sooner, a bit faster, a bit better. Thank you for having me, Chrissy B.
I will also be hearing about, sorry. Well, that was quite a story with Ankit. So, but now it's, oh, shut up, let me start again. I'm sorry.